if you believe that Web3, crypto and things like that are too far out in the future, I do want to let you know that this resort that I'm staying at was built on crypto and sustained by crypto during COVID when there were no tourists allowed on this island. So there is an integration of Web3 technology into our existing life. So let's make the goal of this video for you to understand the main concept about NFTs, why people are making money, why people think that NFT projects, most of them will fail, and where this NFT situation sits in our current life. All right, there's about 2 to 3 things to know about NFTs, and once you know this, everything is a lot easier to understand. So number one, what are NFTs? Like, what are you actually buying when you buy an NFT? The other thing is, what sort of model of business does this go under? And the third one is, what are NFTs? Or sort of like, what are the types of NFTs? Because yes, there are types. So it's really like 2.5 things to know. So number one, what are NFTs? Well, they're like a digital file, right? So you probably would have heard someone say, oh, are people just spending thousands of dollars on JPEGs? Yes and no. That would kind of be like saying that someone's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a piece of paper when they're buying a ticket. So the simplest way of looking at an NFT is like, it's a ticket. So when we purchase tickets, what do tickets give us? They give us access to people, events, maybe flights, maybe land. It really depends on the creator and what they intend that ticket to be for. That's generally what it is. So you're not just getting the JPEG, although that's a big part of the fun side of purchasing things. Now let's set that aside. What model of business this is kind of fit under? Now what I'm about to tell you isn't the only way that this goes down, but it's one of the most common ones. Have you heard of Kickstarter? Have you heard of crowdfunding? So the concept of crowdfunding is, let's say there's a person over here, they want to invent something, they want to create something, and they need funds to make that happen. And then you have people over here who believe in that vision. Maybe they trust this person. Maybe this person has created things in the past which have succeeded really, really well. And these people are like, yeah, I'm gonna back that. I want a piece of that. So yeah, let's do it. So then they send them money, and then now it is time for this to be created and come to fruition. A lot of the NFT projects are kind of like that, where you were funding a vision, which is why a lot of NFTs have something called a roadmap. A roadmap is basically saying, here is the plan for this thing that we are creating. All right, so those are the two main things to know. Now, I did say there was a 0.5. What is that 0.5? The 0.5 is that there are different types of NFTs. So the most commonly known one is a PFP, or profile picture collection, where you're getting a JPEG that might look like a cartoon, which can be used as a profile photo. That's just a representation of what you have bought into. It's like the fun side of things. But there are also things like collectible artwork. So who buys, artwork NFTs? Generally, they are people who already like to collect artwork in real life. And when you think about artwork in real life, you might have paintings, you might have sculptures, and the intended use of that artwork is to be enjoyed, visual pleasure. So that's artwork. There's also gaming. There's also, I want to say real estate, but I don't know enough about that to understand it. But what I'm saying here is that there are different types of NFTs. The one that's most common right now is basically when you buy an NFT that has some form of use, or what they call utility, for the file that you've bought. All right, so now you know what NFTs are from the conceptual point of view. So you might have also heard people say most NFT projects will fail. Why do they say that? Well, if you really have a think about it, when you start a project or build a business, there are some people who will really see that project through all the way to the end till it's successful. And there are some who may create something and they might lose motivation, or a hiccup comes around, and then all of a sudden the project is no longer in progress. So when you're buying an NFT that has that's related to a vision, that's what you're really putting your money in. You're buying into your trust for the people who are creating this. Now, there are some incredible people in the space who are really looking at the NFT space as just a different way of doing the same thing. Like, creators will always create, So it's just a different way of doing things. And it's a very Web3 way of doing things. This way of doing things is actually bringing together people who want to make creation a little bit more seamless. That's for another video, how it's seamless, etc., etc. But this space is really bringing together people who have a common interest in doing things the Web3 way. Okay, so we talked about the thing that applies most to consumers, but what about businesses? Where is the position of a business in this place? If you are the business and you want to start a project, basically what you're providing to people is a framework. You are also providing them with a plan, and you're also providing them with the actual project coming together. Now, let's talk about scams. Scam talk. Where do we begin with this? Well, basically, there's no barrier to entry, right? So you might be thinking, hey, I know someone who's a celebrity, or I know someone who's an influencer. Could they just not like release like an NFT project and just start selling that? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And this does happen where a project might be released, lots of marketing goes out, lots of promotion, and as soon as it's time to buy, as it turns out, this project has disappeared, or the people who promoted this disappeared. They call it a rug pull. Because there is no barrier to entry, where your work lies, whether you are the investor or a trader or a collector, when they say you have to do the work and do your research, what that really means is that you, when you're interested, let's say you found an NFT that you like, it's your job to look up who is creating this. Like dig deep. This is time to do some investigative work. Who is building this? What is the likelihood of them seeing this to fruition? Do I trust them? And then you kind of got to use your gut to decide that. But in saying that, identifying where you sit in this world of NFTs is going to play a big role in the decisions that you make. If you decide that in this world, you're like, I want to build capital, I want to make money, I'm not necessarily interested in investing in long term or anything like that, the way that you behave in this NFT world is going to be different from someone who invests. When you understand your position in this space, the way that you do research is going to be skewed to the behavior that you want. But generally, when it comes to doing research in the NFT space, what you're really looking at is, who is this project being backed by? Do I trust this person? How likely are they to see their plans to fruition? Do I care if they see it to fruition, or am I just going to buy and sell anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me? If you're here, there's a likelihood that you heard of something that drew you to this. A lot of the time it is someone's success story. For example, like a cousin of mine, he's been in this world since NFTs began, and last year one of his trades resulted in $200,000. This February another trade resulted in $80,000, and that's why people get interested in this space. This is where I guess it really comes into play, where if you know people who are doing this or who have been doing this, they're like your trusted people, so you will go to them for advice. It's a new space, it's a growing space. So when I was new and I heard about it, I was really intrigued, like what NFTs were. And my cousin, who had been in this space, he's in his mid-20s, we linked up and I asked him, what am I buying if I buy an NFT? And he taught me everything. That brings us towards the end of this video, not to the end, but towards. So right now, if you find, okay, I'm quite interested in this, what's your next step? Well, I just bought my first NFT a few days ago. It wasn't smooth, but it was a lot smoother than what it would have been had I not already purchased some crypto. That's for a whole other video, because what you actually need, you need some crypto to buy the NFT, and each stage is a process. Sometimes it feels like you're just signing up for an email address. Sometimes it feels like you're just doing bank-to-bank trading. But really, in this journey, at the beginning of your journey, you're going to hear a lot of like jargon. You're going to be like, why are they talking about Binance, CoinSpot, MetaMask, whatever? Like, what are these things even? But you're going to learn about the tools that you need in order to buy that NFT. Once you know what your tools are, you're going to be like, all right, I'm going to get some crypto. I'm going to transfer some money to turn it into crypto, and then I'm going to buy my first NFT. That's really what your journey is going to be. 1, 2, 3. The next video is going to be like sentences of words that you will hear in this space, and then we're going to translate it into plain English, so that when you continue to do your research, you're going to understand like what the message is that people are saying when they're saying certain words, or all the comments on Twitter are happening. And by the way, Twitter is a space that you will be using if you are into this NFT piece. And that leads us to the end of this video. Is there anything else that you need to know? Oh yeah, that's right. If you decide that you want to be an investor, your work lays in understanding how to invest wisely, how to qualify NFT projects so that you're making good investments. If your intention is to be a trader, then there are other behaviors connected with that. It's kind of like trading, right? So When I asked my cousin what happened to him when he decided to go full-time in this, he says, basically my sleep is like back to front. I wake up at 11 p.m. I stay awake all night because that's when the market is most active. So I match that, and he treats it like a full-time job. In some ways, it's like, I want to say like it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but at the same time, it's probably one that somewhat does apply. I hate to say it, but I feel like you can say it because it does happen more than other things. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you come in here for that specific reason, but it does happen more than other things. The only thing is that people don't really speak about losses a lot, right? So you have good wins, you have great losses. Oh, and the other thing, this is such a messy video, but one thing to know is that it is said that investing in NFTs is the highest risk behavior within, like, when it comes to crypto and Web3. So the lowest risk is to invest in crypto, a specific type of crypto, and then you have a higher level where it's like more risk but still pretty safe, and NFTs are pretty much at the very top. And the reason for that is because when you buy an NFT, you're buying a very specific ticket, and if you decide, hey, I want to sell this, I don't want this anymore, you need to find a buyer who wants those exact characteristics. Otherwise, you will end up holding on to an NFT that nobody wants. And this happens all the time as well. Basically, this world is consisted of the basic things that life consists of: wins, losses, requirement for patience, requirement for understanding how this works. But if you still like the sound of this, then go to the next video, understand the language a little bit more, and then it might be time for you to buy your first NFT or just understand what the process is in doing that. Hop onto Twitter. Twitter is going to be one of your main sources. There are NFTs that you can buy that will give you access to people who have been in this world for a lot longer or just know this world really, really well. When you buy NFTs that are of that nature, what you're getting is access to high quality information so that you're not just relying on places like Twitter and public spaces to get insight on whether you should buy an NFT or not, or if a project is good or not. That is that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's made sense. And if you have any comments or questions, pop them in the comment section down below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video, the language video. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the